Hello, hello. We are back. New intro up and going there. New setups, a few changes over here to the stream. We're going to jump in right off the bat. We're going to go into a historic content notice. The film was produced during World War II as part of the U.S. military training and information program. It reflects the language and attitudes and wartime propaganda of the era in which it was created. Some terms and depictions in this film may be offensive or inappropriate by modern standards. They are presented here unaltered for historical and educational purposes. Mission 4938 presents this material to help viewers better understand the realities, the perspectives, and the messaging of World War II period. For viewer discretion is advised. So we're going to jump over here into our slideshow. So one of the big things we're going to show tonight is a video that was banned by the Army, that the Army created itself. And it was banned because this video was about OPSEC, and the video itself violated OPSEC from their point of view. So they went through and spent a ton of money to make this animated video to train troops on OPSEC. And then when it was reviewed by the censors and by a couple generals, they determined it also violated OPSEC. So they immediately shelved it. It went into a vault not to be seen, and it wasn't released until fairly recently. So we're going to be talking about that. We also have another great one, GI Bill of Rights. It's the first time that they created a video to train military members on their rights as veterans. So it's going to be really great. So one of the things we're looking at right now here is OPSEC itself, because right now we're seeing a lot about that. We just heard where a family readiness group had their Facebook page shut down by the Army because of OPSEC, where we're seeing spouse units overseas have their group shut down because of OPSEC, and military members going to Article 15s and Captain's Mass if you're Navy. Pity on all of you who are not Navy. Getting Captain's Mass for violating OPSEC. So we're going to look at some of the historical context of OPSEC here. These are all from World War II. Beware, spreading vital information will undermine our war effort. Do your part in silence. Careless talk got there first. So these are videos that you're going to be seeing up around bases back then. You're going to be seeing them on the home front, all kinds of places pushing it. Some birds talk too much. Silence means security. Here we're tying protect his future, watch your tongue. Silence means security. Here we're seeing them actually bring in, like, if you want your kids to be safe, you need to practice OPSEC. Be careful with what you say and write. Please don't gamble with your life. Again, kind of using some imagery of some women here trying to encourage you to stay OPSEC ready. I haven't talked yet. Resolve no loose talk in 44. Keep your eyes open and your mouth shut. So again, we're kind of looking at this kind of the whole thing. Don't be a sucker. Keep your mouth shut. It's all kind of this whole the secret. The only secret is the one never told. Silence means security. And they're kind of hearkening to looking out for spies and people like that trying to eavesdrop in on what you say. This man may die if you talk too much. And again, this is something that's really taught throughout the military, is the whole OPSEC thing. So they're kind of really focusing in on it. Award for careless talk. So they're going through and saying that the Nazi Germany is going to give you an award for your talking because you're actually helping them defeat the Americans by sharing too much. And of course, if you tell where he's going, he may never get there. And we've seen that. If you've been in the military, you may have seen that before. A mission or a movement may be changed because somebody talked and jeopardized the entire thing. And so what's interesting is this video that we're going to show, the first one of the night, is all about having the OPSEC at home when you go on leave. And again, created by the Army, and the Army itself banned it because it violated OPSEC. So we're going to kick into this. It's Private Snafu coming home.
soldier returns from the global grind. Home is ahead, the front is behind.
Let me go ahead.
Soldier returns.
We're going to stop real quick. You saw right there Chuck Jones. Chuck Jones was actually serving with the Signal Corps of the Army during World War II. And if you know Chuck Jones, you may be familiar with him from all of his work with Looney Tunes and Warner Brothers Animation. He is one of the godfathers of all modern animation.
His hometown is proud. Look at that brass band. Look at that crowd. Our returning hero has, no doubt, a million
Of course,
things
jumping
to
in the
talk
arms
about.
of his girl instead of his family.
Safe at home, away from battle, restricted stuff makes harmless prattle.
Our outfit's number 999. Now we hold the center of the line. The British hold the hills just west. A pillbox here, machine gun nest, 200 medium tanks, the best.
Now you've
So
got
they're
that
talking
off
about you're
your
broadcasting
chest.
all
Why not
those
go out and blast the
safety
rest?
concerns for your family.
Boy, is that sweet. It measures 15,000 feet with 9 new runways, all concrete.
And who's not been guilty of that a little bit? You go back home and you want to brag about where you're stationed or what the where you're stationed, what they have, and what they can do.
A pack a punch. They knocked out Battery B. If those nips ever start to push, they'll shove us in the sea.
Everything you're talking, you're broadcasting to everybody.
News of the day.
Oh, here we go.
Our new secret weapon did this to the foe. What hit you, Tojo?
So right there, can you guess why they went through and banned this from being shown? This was done in 44. You can kind of take a clue exactly why they felt like maybe this violated OPSEC.
Wouldn't you like to know?
I know what did it. What made the big hole?
Oh, gotta try to impress the girls.
With radar control. You see, I know all about it. I was right there. I seen it with my own eyes. The propelling charge is attached to the tail surface, and the booster adapter activates the bomb, which sets off the fusion of trail fan.
Hey, you get a service member around a guy and he's gonna start blabbing. And then you get him around a girl and he's gonna blab twice, 3 times as much.
Our very next move, this is straight from the boss, is amphibious attacks. It's just how the boss, see?
Oh yeah, and then the alcohol.
The flagellants are all galore. New prank of stifled, I'll just destroy to the shore. Naturally, it concerns not only, but without it, what would we have? Indubitably. And by the way, speaking of convoys, do you know that when I sailed with a 999, without a single ship to protect us, why, the tanks we saw en route and the places we went. Now, this is strictly confidential, and you'll treat it so, I hope. But strictly confidentially, here's the latest dope. Now, coming in at 74 degrees, we placed our guns and the major artillery around here. And besides that,
Just advertising again, everything going on. And again, it keeps showing the ladies in there because it's kind of that honey potting the thing where you get guys around girls they want to impress, and next thing you know, they're revealing all the secrets of their unit.
All over the sky.
Oh man, look at that dancing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the War Department regrets to announce that due to recent leaks and restricted military information, our entire 999th Division has been annihilated by the enemy.
the 999th, are your own outfit. Some guy shot his mouth off. Any joint that'd do that ought to be run over by a streetcar.
And again, it's always somebody else's fault, not your own. All right, although made in May, this never saw release. It was shelved because of the betrayal of the super bomb in it. It was thought to be too close a hint to the top secret atom bomb that we're developing at the time. So again, this immediately got shelved because of that fear. So it is a little funny that you have the OPSEC video was shelved because it revealed too much OPSEC. But that was a real fear at the time. Any little hint, any little nudge in that direction that kind of revealed too many secrets that we were using to try to beat the Germans and the Japanese, you've got to try to stop any leak that you can have. We're going to jump into our next one. We're going to be covering the GI Bill of Rights film. It's really unique as this is the first training film for service members to teach them what their rights were, and notice some differences that you won't see today in our stuff and where ours is better and where theirs was better.
The GI Bill of Rights.
Just who gets the benefits of this bill?
Any veteran, male or female, with more than 3 months active service, who hasn't been dishonorably discharged.
Will it help me in finding it?
I love the fact that Halo appears because they've not been dishonorably discharged.
Job?
No, the bill itself does not. But you do get help elsewhere. It's your draft board that helps you to get your old job back. Or the United States Employment Service will help you find a new one.
But suppose they don't find me a job right away.
If they can't find you a job right away, you'll be given $20 a week up to a limit of 52 weeks.
Good boy. $20 a week for 52 weeks. And back then, that would have been sustainable, gainful employment. $20 a week, up to a year if you can't find a job when you leave the military.
Moreover, if your job brings in less than $23 a week, you get a government check to make up the difference between your income and $23.
And if your job doesn't bring in $23, you'll get a check to make up the difference so you can get that $23 a week. I think now if you get a check for to make up the difference between $23 a week if you missed a week of work, I think you'd be just as mad.
What's the dope on borrowing money?
Don't get the wrong idea about that loan provision. The government doesn't guarantee that you will get a loan. It just makes it a little easier for you to borrow money for a business, equipment, a farm, a home.
Yeah, now suppose I want to borrow enough to build myself a house.
Making arrangements for this loan will still be your job. As with any loan, before you can borrow, you have to show you have credit. By credit, we mean property you own, or the money you're earning, or the skill and experience behind you. Normally, you would have to back all of this loan yourself.
So again, credit back then was looked at differently. It wasn't looked at as a credit score. It was just, do you own anything? Do you have a special skill set? Are you bringing in money? Because there wasn't a national credit bureau to kind of go through and look at that. And also the GI Bill, you'll see the big difference was you could get it to open your own business. It wasn't about just going to college. It was, okay, here, we're going to help you open your business. We're going to help you buy a house, buy a farm, that kind of thing.
But when you're a veteran, the government will back 50% of your loan, up to a limit of $2,000.
Good Lord, $2,000.
The government pays the interest for 1 year on this part of the loan.
Now that's interesting. The government pays the interest for that 1 year on that part of the
Does the GI Bill
loan.
of Rights give us any free education?
Every veteran, young or old, can study in any approved school for 1 year. Grammar school or high school, college.
Wow, I didn't catch that before. So grammar school or high school, you come back out of the military and you still don't have your degree from high school, you can go back and they will pay for that 1 year of high school for you.
Trade school, business school. You name it, and if you can meet the requirements, you can have it. The government pays all of your school bills up to $500 a year, and living expenses of $50 a month, or $75 a month if you have dependents.
$50 or $75 a
If you are
month
under
with dependents.
25 when you went into the service, or if 25 or over, and can show that the war interrupted your education, when you come back, you can have that 1 year that every veteran gets, plus the same length of time you spent in active service.
Wow.
That is up to a total of 4 years of schooling. Those are the main points of your GI Bill of Rights. Help if you're unemployed, help in borrowing money, free education. It's not a bonus. It's not a handout. But it is a way to help you get started again in your permanent career as a United States citizen.
Man, I feel like some of the senators need to hear that again. It's not a handout. It's to get you started back again after your time in service. Almost like it's not some kind of for no reason benefit. And again, the GI Bill of Rights has changed over time and adapted, but this is where it started. And also with that whole thing, we kind of have the same basics in there. You can see where the GI Bill or the GI Education Bill, the Montgomery GI Bill, and then eventually the post 9/11 GI Bills went from there. But you also have the ability to see kind of where we're at that point, because if you remember some of our previous coverage and the previous shows that we have covered, you're looking at over half of everyone was involved in some way in the war effort during World War II. So this was to get them up and going. We're going to jump into a few other, just some fun ones that we kind of haven't seen before. We have Song of Victory, which is just kind of an encouragement. This one was not shown to the military. This was made for kids, made for civilians, kind of, again, boosting up that patriotism and boosting up the feeling of, oh, we're going to win this war. So we're going to jump into this Song of Victory. Columbia Pictures Corporation, A Color Rhapsody, Song of Victory. Dave Fleischer, who did a lot of the kind of civilian propaganda videos at the time for Columbia Pictures. Any similarities between vulture, gorilla, and hyena in this picture to certain dictators, either living or dead, we hope, is purely intentional. And again, starting out with that beautiful stream kind of out there in the woods. Everything is normal up until this point, kind of setting the mood. Oh, everything was grand before the evil dictators had attacked and disparaged the world. Again, they were going through depression, but they're trying to paint this picture of everything was as it should be. Everything was grand. And now the evil comes in with these dictators. Because, again, you can kind of, if you're a government, a good way of blaming everything going wrong is to blame it on your enemies. You've got the vulture to represent Hitler. You have the gorilla representing Mussolini, and the hyena representing the Emperor of Japan. And again, the racial depictions in here are not something that we would see as appropriate today, but it was very much in the theme of the World War II when they were making this propaganda. They wanted to use some of the stereotypical things in there to instantly convey over their knowledge. I'm not saying that's a positive, I'm not saying that's something that should have been done, but it's something that they very often did in these war films to kind of push their point forward. And it's showing them coming across and bullying the smaller creatures and things like that. The whole goal is to definitely push these are the enemy, these are the bad guys, to people who are potentially younger audiences and people who may not have watching the newsreels, reading the newspaper. You're looking at younger kids trying to really show who the enemy is. This is 1943, I believe, 1944, somewhere in there.
Meinen Herren und meinen Damen, was will Sie haben, Herr vom Führer? Was haben Sie gesagt hier? Jawohl, Gimmick, Nick, Heid und Mund, Sauerbraten, jawohl, Tier.
And the weird jerky motions of Hitler, which now today we're starting to understand were one of the side effects of methamphetamines that he was on. They kind of used it as comedy and not really pointing that out, but that was definitely something done. But even on our own side, if we're looking at the propaganda piece, some of the Allied commanders and leaders of countries were also using methamphetamines because of the long hours at that time, without realizing what a huge dynamic shift that made in people's health and really could do some massive damage. So weirdly enough, in this where we're looking at the propaganda and the views of it, we're also telling you don't use methamphetamines. Meant to show them stomping down any flake of resistance, and then we're going to kind of see some of the critters that are supposed to represent the other countries of the world finally having enough and standing up to these evil empires, and in this case the gorilla, the hyena, and the vulture. And again, most of this is done to depict, to show for kids, we're going to win this war. We're coming out on top. Because, again, you have some of these small children that their fathers, their brothers, cousins, neighbors, people they knew their entire life. Because, again, half of all Americans are involved in the war. So it's important to reassure people that we're going to win this war. We're going to unite together. And you can see the V symbol, the victory symbol, which was just as powerful in the United Kingdom during the Blitz, France for the resistance, and became something big for even countries in China and Russia, where they were really facing a huge onslaught at these times. Having that V for victory symbol was very much a uniting and emboldening symbol, and kind of reminding them we're going to win this in the end. Just hold on. Just keep the faith a little longer. Not related to this, but every time I see that, I think of the flying, it was the Mighty Ducks, the flying V. If you're a kid that grew up in that time period, you know what I mean. Using semaphore to communicate over there to the other critters. And obviously they band together and they defeat the evil triumphant. I think that's what they were calling them, the triumvirate. They got the yellow streak up their back, which is a symbol prior to World War II that they were actually cowards the whole time. Right there in the sky, the giant V for victory. Howard Swift and Phil Duncan, you'll see those over and over again. And then the old Columbia image. So again, this one was made specifically for kids to encourage them to hold on hope. We're going to win the war. We're going to do one more fun one for the night before we call it a night. This last one we're going to do is All Out for Victory. It's another one that was shown on the civilian side of the world. If you missed our earlier stuff, we'll be re-uploading some of it, and it'll always be on our lives. Be sure to check that out. The All Out for Victory is another, I think it's Terry Tunes, which was huge in production of all civilian war cartoons, things like that. They were really big at this time. They eventually fell off. Yep, Paul Terry presents All Out for Victory. Not necessarily the most creative song, but still a song nonetheless in here.
Something? What was that? Did you hear something?
What's cooking? Extra! Read all about it! War declared! Extra! Read all about it! Extra! Extra! War declared!
And this one's going to kind of take a different kind of atmosphere. So this one's really highlighting the War Production Office. Let me go.
We're working for defense. We're working for defense. We're stepping up production by Uncle Sam's instruction. We've got a job to do, so let's all see it through. And very soon there's bound to be a V for victory.
And you see the War Production Office.
There's a job to be done. All production must be increased. Get busy now.
So again, you're having kids who are having to eat less, and they're expected as well to help contribute to the war effort. And so going through and showing things like this of, hey, even the animals and bugs are involved in the war production can make a huge difference, because regardless of what era we're in, whether it's the modern era with what's going on with Iran or World War II, conflict has a big impact on kids. And Terry Tunes really kind of embraced that and was like, okay, this is why everyone has to go in and help. We have to win the war. And even these small things that the animals are doing are making a difference on helping us win the war. And so it makes it a little bit of like that sacrifice for kids, and it's explaining things to kids that they may not understand. They're complicated things. Things like war bonds and things like that, and donating over to the war effort, which could be very, very taxing on a family, especially with the fact that we're still in a depression at this point.
We're stepping up production by Uncle Sam's instruction. We want to do our bit to keep our country fit. We'll keep on giving more and more until we win this war.
And again, the little song kind of makes it helpful. And again, it's teaching kids that why they're sacrificing with this war effort on, and why it's important. So.
Is this a blackout or isn't it?
We're working night
And even that right there, the chickens were like, hey, look, don't just get us somewhat going. Let's go full bore in here and helping us win this war.
The army needs its food, and That's why we're in this mood. And if they have the best to eat, we know that they cannot be beat.
Blacking out the windows, because that was a real concern during World War II, and it may not have been a reality, but a lot of people were afraid of an air bomb like they were seeing in the United Kingdom on the United States.
We're giving up our wool. We're giving up our wool. We're stepping up production by Uncle Sam's instruction. We need a uniform to keep our soldiers warm. And so we give a last select the coats right off our back.
And again, listening to the lyrics, they're giving up everything up to the coat off their back to help support the troops. It is an oddly catching little ditty, isn't it? Terry Tunes did this kind of thing so very well of explaining through the complicated things that may be going on for the conflict in a way that kids could easily understand and grasp. And even things like that, which may just seem silly, looking at it, pots and pans being converted over into guns, it was actually happening. Giving up metal scrap to go into ship making, into gun manufacture. People were actually doing that because it was easier and quicker than mining new ore, is for people to give up some of the stuff they had to help produce these implements that were going to be used in the war effort.
What you doing? Japanese beetles!
I don't know the word. Japanese beetles. That kind of works on a couple weird ways. The Japanese were the enemy, but also Japanese beetles really did damage crops that were, I believe it was 1 in 4 Americans were fed only fresh vegetables from their own war gardens. And again, they're showing the warships, they're showing the airplanes, and hey, look, by contributing this stuff, you're helping America's victory. Old Terry Tunes, kicking it off right there, showing us how it goes. Viacom. So again, look around today. Look around and see what you're seeing today as far as propaganda and how things work. And you're going to see propaganda on both sides. During World War II, there was propaganda the other way that was encouraging us to get out of the war. That's not seen very much today because a lot of that was destroyed as soon as we won the war, because it was, again, the victor tells the story. But you can find some of it where it was really encouraging us not to get involved in the war at all. But you'll see propaganda on both sides. But I think that's where we'll end it. Like I said, if you missed any of our earlier stuff, we have our new intro up and going. We also have our some of our new audio issues. I think it fixed some of the issues that we were having. We'll be changing up a few other things. But if you get a chance tomorrow, check us out at 7:30, I think, Central Time. I can be corrected in the chat if I am wrong. I think it's 7:30 Central Time, PM. You can join us for Wasteland Wednesdays with Recon Surge, taking us back into Fallout 4 and conquering the Wastelands. Thursday, if you would like to check out, we don't go live on Thursday, but we will be doing another one of our few quick facts. I think we'll be doing a few quick facts on fear that was produced for our service members during World War II. And another little thing you can catch is we're going to be adding in some interviews with some prominent people coming up. So there's a lot of things happening. But also check us out on our Facebook page, Mission 4938 on Facebook. It's our new, completely all about our Mission 4938. We'd love to have you give us a follow. Check it out on there. Check us out on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube. We appreciate all of you being here, and I think that's where we'll call it for the night. But until next time, Stay strong, stay true, stay Frankie. We'll see you tomorrow at 7:30 live.